Detroit Lions got absolutely mollywopped by the Green Bay Packers. What up, though? Welcome to Lions Nation Unite. I am Easy. Today, we'll be talking about the Detroit Lions game one, week one against the Green Bay Packers, where they got absolutely destroyed. I won't take any other answer. I mean, I love you guys. And then this is not everybody, but I know there's a lot of coping going on. And we're not going to play that game today. We're going to talk about what went wrong, why we thought it went wrong, and if these things are correctable. And it's week one. So let's be honest. I think we have to say a lot of them are correctable or should be correctable. I mean, this is where you kind of draw get those kinks out. Let's look back at week one of last year. Jared Goff didn't have the greatest game. I think he had one touchdown, an interception. If you look back at it, remember the Rams game is what I'm talking about. Sunday Night Football. It was David Montgomery who, chugged his way down into the end zone and won that game in overtime for the Detroit Lions. It wasn't Jared Goff. And then Dan Campbell came out and he said, "Hey, I think actually, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's go into the second week then, all right, against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another interception. Offense just couldn't get going. And this is with the longest tenured offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, at the time. And after that game, Dan Campbell said, "Hey, it's gonna take us a minute to iron this thing out. This is normal." And I think that's going to carry over to this season, if not maybe a little bit longer, because I think there's a lot more change going on. In that situation, you could look at the fact that you've had Ben Johnson there for a very long time. In that situation, you look at that offensive line unit that had been in place for a very long time outside of Kevin Zeiler, but who had been playing the National Football League for a very long time. This year, that's not the case. You have two young guys up there in the interior offensive line, looking at Tate Ratledge and Christian Mahogany. Tate Ratledge graded the worst by PFF, by the way, among the Detroit Lions offensive line. Tate Ratledge, if I'm not mistaken, graded out at a 39.2 in pass blocking. And it was bad, real bad. I'll get the run blocking numbers as well, too. Matter of fact, I'll just get the blocking grades for Tate Ratledge. I should have sent that over. The overall offensive grade for Tate Ratledge was 57.5. Not great. Not great, Bob. We'll go down those numbers as well. But, yeah, I think you have a young guy in Tate Ratledge up there. You have Christian Mahogany up there as well, too, who is – I think you've seen some good out of Christian Mahogany, but essentially, you looked at Tate Ratledge with 57.5. Mahogany had a 54.5. That's an overall grade. Pass blocking, Mahogany edged Rattler just a bit with a 43.9. So there's two young guys up there kind of just learning the game in itself. And then you have Graham Glasgow, who actually did pretty well. He graded a 71.9 in the pass blocking. Overall, though, run blocking included, he graded a 43.6, which is not great. That's a lot. That's a big difference, right? So I think that's going to take a little bit more time to iron out for the Detroit Lions offense on top of a new play caller named Johnny Morton. So, am I allowed to say that I wish it would have been? I kind of do. Obviously, that's not the case. The reason why I sound so lifeless is this is the second toughest schedule in the National Football League. I believe the Bears are the only ones ahead of us, and that's simply because we play them twice. They have a lot of the same teams that we play, on top of having to see us twice, which we see the Bears next week. It's sad to say that's a test, a litany test at this point, but it kind of is from what we saw yesterday. Especially you want to see this team bounce back in the Dan Campbell fashion. That doesn't happen to us. We're gonna get up and punch you right back square in the face. Hopefully that's a situation for the Detroit Lions. But yeah, yesterday was bad, man. It was real bad. It's almost forced you into a must-win against the Chicago Bears. But I'll start here. Let's get into why things went bad. Number one, first and foremost, is unavoidable to talk about the offensive line. We kind of went over the numbers for you just then. Our all-pro, first-team all-pro, graded out with a 69.7 in pass blocking and a 70 overall. this is pretty solid for him. Taylor Decker got abused, though. Taylor Decker with a 55 overall grade, according to PFF. He let up a sack. Christian Mahogany let up 2 sacks. Tate Ratledge let up a sack. For some reason, I guess that one was not on Panay. Panay, no sacks for him. But he did let up a hurry, which led to a Jared Goff interception. And beyond that, and the worst part about that situation, actually, before we go past that, the Green Bay Packers were only rushing 4 to 5. And majority of the time, they're only rushing 4. The 4-man rush was getting to our quarterback, Jared Goff, who is, we love him, God bless him, kind of immobile when it comes to getting that pressure on him. He's not really able to recreate those pockets sometimes. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and play a schoolyard ball. He really needs a regimented offensive system to be the best version of himself. And we've had the best version of himself for the past, at least for sure, 2 to 3 years now. And we've seen it take us to heights we've never seen as Detroit Lions fans. We did not see anything close to that yesterday. We just did not. You got to keep him protected. But it gets worse, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. Detroit Lions, new offensive coordinator. We're told a lot of things are probably going to be the same as they were the previous years. Let me get this set up for you because I watched the offense today. It wasn't pretty. I was pretty disappointed in myself. Not in myself, but pretty disappointed. I'm sharing that I was disappointed. Here are some situations where Jared Goff, because typically Jared Goff's release time is those 2.5 seconds from the past 3 to 4 years. Here are situations where Jared Goff had those 2.5 to 3 seconds and just couldn't find anyone, couldn't get anyone the ball because no one was getting open. The route concepts were just way too deep. Nobody could get open. They couldn't protect Jared Goff long enough to hit these guys in these deep route concepts. Here's the thing, too. I rewinded a little bit. I apologize. I should have kept that part out. But here's JG trying to recreate, buy some time, right? But that's not his game. That's not what he does. And beyond that, guys weren't even open. They're not even open. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't get the ball out to anybody. Now, we say players play, and we talked about the offensive line, but these are situations where you had time. And that's why you saw the $50 million checkdowns to Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way, set an NFL record yesterday. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Set an NFL record for the least amount of yards with 10 or more receptions in an NFL game. I think he had 30 or 31 yards on 10 receptions. That is an NFL all-time low in the National Football League history, the lowest of all time. John Morton, game 1, we saw a little bit of this stuff. Again, I think particularly week 2 last year against Tampa, I think we saw a very similar situation with Ben at the helm. And obviously that got fixed out to the tune of having the number 1 scoring offense in the National Football League. I'm not going to freak out or lose my cool yet. Obviously I'm upset to lose to the Packers for sure. But it's just something to keep note of. You want to know what happened yesterday? That's what happened yesterday. And yeah, Jordan Love in the first half had all day back there. I think I saw him doing his taxes. I think I literally saw him back there snap the ball and was like, I don't talk to my grandma enough. I got to give her a call. Can you guys just give me a minute? Let me just give me just 1 second. Grandma, I'm sorry I'm gonna call you so much. You're such a big part of my childhood. There was no pressure in the first half. And then Friday, I'm ashamed you weren't able to make the video here. My guy Spingy's on vacation, 2-man team here, but you lost to Darius Smith to the Philadelphia Eagles, a guy who led your team in pressures last year, the edge room, I should say. Got 4 sacks for you too. And that was with Lee McNeil, having his situation at a certain point in the year and not having Aiden Hutchinson, like Darius Smith and this team with those 2 guys along the offensive line, Marcus Davenport included, probably helping you out a little bit, or if not, at least helping out Hutch. But either way, that kind of did change. That changed a little bit in the second half. I think they did a little more. The Green Bay Packers, that is, did a little bit more play action. Bought the Detroit Lions pass rush a little bit more time. I think Hutch finished with a QB hit. I think Hutch had 3 pressures, if I'm not mistaken. Let me find that. According to PFF, he had one. But I'm pretty sure I saw in next gen stats he had 3 of the pressures. They were chipping him. I mean, his words verbatim was they're using the chips pretty healthily on him. Obviously, they were double teaming him as well too. But Aiden Hutchinson, we were so hungry to see him play, and we didn't get that. We didn't get what we saw at a training camp. And so I'm trying to I think, am I crazy? And then I'm because I came reporting to you guys, this man was on fire. I came reporting to you guys, this man's defensive player of the year. And I'm like, am I nuts? But I thought about it. I was the only one to say those things. And Albert Breer, Jamison Williams, Terrion Arnold, Coach Kelvin Shepard, right? I mean, a lot of people came to Detroit Lions camp this year and had those things to say. And I'm wondering what's going on. Well, you saw how our offensive line performed. That's more than likely what was going on. He's performing really well against a very bad offensive line. That could be one. And then oh, but easy. We brought in 2 different teams to test these guys. And he killed it against the Miami Dolphins, and he killed it against the Houston Texans. 2 of the worst output offenses in the National Football League yesterday were the Miami Dolphins and the Houston Texans. I don't know if the Houston Texans scored a touchdown. Let me check that one. I don't think they did. I know Miami got a touchdown, but they also that final score was 8-33. Oh, by the way, they lost to the Indianapolis Colts. That helps you. 0 touchdowns for the Houston Texans. Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson did look really good against them. Bad offense. And anybody's curious about that one, I will say the Texans played the Rams. The Rams have a really good defensive line, and the Houston Texans have no offensive line. I mean, it was bad. There's your answer for that one. It's the same thing with Miami Dolphins. I mean, 33-8. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Devon H. Those are highly talented skill players. 33-8. You only put up 8 points with that offense. Tua was healthy, by the way. Can they fix these things? I guess is the next question. I think so. I don't know if it would be at the elite level we saw last year, of being quite frank with you guys. But I do believe it's just common sense to have a little bit of faith in a rookie like Tate Ratledge getting better after last night. I think it's common sense to have a little faith in Christian Mahogany getting better after last night, and just their overall cohesiveness, just them getting used to each other's drop steps and not stepping on each other, and when to help out another guy, or and for a rookie specifically, just seeing different reps, right? I mean, I guess one of the things that Taylor Decker had to say was they're kind of just moving around, shifting, overloading the box, simulating pressures from Luke Van Ness and dropping them back into coverage. And some of that stuff was affecting a rookie like Tate Ratledge and a young guy like Christian Mahogany. I think individually, I think those guys can be talented, and they got beat there too, man. Luke Van Ness, they put inside. That was nuts. I've been clowning that kid. I've been clowning Gutekunst for drafting him first round. But Luke Van Ness rushing inside yesterday, he led, I think, the entire football field in pressures. He had 4. Micah Parsons came in third with 3. I'm sorry, came in second with 3. And by the way, for the forecast of the division, Micah Parsons only played half the game. That was not a good sign. But again, can it get better? Yes, it can get better. I believe Dan Campbell, John Morton, Jared Goff, just that trifecta in itself has enough common sense to look at the tape and fix what went wrong. I think they've had enough success with Jared Goff to know what works well and what to go back to it. The thing with the play calling stuff, though, is anybody can grab a board and show you some X's and O's and things they like. It's just having the feel for the game of when to call certain things, I believe, matters in the National Football League. That's the difference between a great play caller and an offensive coordinator, in my opinion. You give the offensive coordinator title to anyone. Play callers are the ones that are making stuff happen. That could be fixed. The Detroit Lions defensive line and pressures, I mean, that's gotta be fixed, right? I mean, it's gotta correct itself. I don't see that happening. I mean, I know they had a lot of quick man beaters in that one in the first half. The second half, not so much. I have faith the defensive line will correct itself. Now, how does this affect the rest of the season? That's not a conversation I'm comfortable having, to be honest with you. Like, we're going to have to live this season game by game. I don't think we're allowed to be arrogant, cocky fans anymore. We have to know each week it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a test. I could be wrong on that one. I hope I'm wrong with that one. But what I saw of that pass rush was did not feel great. Did not look great at all whatsoever. Terrion, I know he got beat on that one touchdown. That was a pick play. He got picked on that situation. He also strained his groin the second series of the game. Ultimately, just came out. Rocky Sin ended up coming in, playing a little bit of corner. Brian Branch, I thought, looked phenomenal. If there's one bright spot on this defense, you could point to Brian Branch, but even he had a silly penalty. I'm sorry, guys. I can't. I mean, what do you want me to do right now? I'm giving you what happened. And if you disagree, I'd love to hear in the comment section down below. That just from my vantage point, man. By the way, you guys catch me over there at Woodward Sports as well, 5 to 7. I'll be live today with Nick. May have a Detroit Lions player joining us, but I don't have the nuts to text the guy. I don't. I doubt he wants to be on here to talk about that. I don't know. 6 more days to play the Bears. That's good news. Football's back. I'll take it. All right, it's one game. Wow, it's not the end of the world, but that was bad. That was real bad. But it's one game, so I'm not going to take that and poo-poo on the season. I apologize. That was doom and gloom, guys. I mean, I really don't know what to give you there. I can't blame JG for that. I could say this. That's the reason why people say you need everything to go perfect around him, right? Because obviously he can't mix and match beyond that. But we knew that. We just have to keep him healthy. We have to keep him upright. And we have to get some shorter route concepts because what the bananas, for lack of better words. Smash the like button. Tell me how the Detroit Lions can fix this situation. Am I wrong? Am I being a loser SOL fan? I'm sure I'm going to get some of you in the comment section. That's okay. I love you guys. You guys are invited. We're all Detroit Lions fans in the day. But any ball knowers, I would love to know what you guys saw in that game. How the Detroit Lions can fix that. How Johnny Morton can fix that. What went wrong? Who was the biggest to blame? I want to hear from those people. And if you aren't that and you still want to complain, feel free. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. If you guys would like a film breakdown, we'll try to get Herman on that. I could pull up some stuff as well too. I appreciate you guys taking time to listen to this video today. I know it wasn't the best in terms of just not fun to listen to. Hear your team get talked about in that kind of light, but it just is what it is. We'll be back at some point in the middle of the week with a breakdown for the Detroit Lions versus Chicago Bears. Hopefully we get some Herman more content on here too. I know he's going to break down some film for us. It's something he's going to do this season. Keep us posted with what kind of stuff you want to see from Lions Nation Unite. I'll make sure it gets relayed to the rest of the crew and hopefully get it all out to you guys. Until next time, I'm out.